What's up, everybody? Tofu Bandit back with another deck profile video. Today we're going to be going over the BT12 Wargreymon deck that we'll be releasing. This is going to be post-ban list and with mulligans in mind, and we will go over the deck strategy as we go through the deck. We'll start off with our eggs, which are the tried and trues. We have good old red Agumon, or Koromon, sorry, when this Digimon has an Omnimon or Greymon in its name, other than the ones that don't count. Draw a card, and then this Koromon is just a DP buff if it has Agumon or Greymon in its name, which can give you a boost if you need to like push out of raising earlier than you would like. Uh, Next, we're going to go to the level 3s. We're going to start off with the new BT12 Agumon, Digivolves from 0 from a Koromon, so this 0 cost, or this 1 cost is negligible because it can Digivolve off any of our rookies for 0. On plays for 3, like everything else. We search the top 4 and we add 1 card with Greymon or Omnimon and 1 Tamer with Tai in its name from among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then it has the inheritable of all turns when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name. It gets plus 1,000, which is phenomenal since the all turns is going to basically prevent you from being killed on the crackback. And then it's also a searcher. So this is one of the first, if not only, searchers that I'm aware of that has both searching and inheritable. Next up is our old searcher from good old BT5. On play, reveal 3 cards from the top of your deck. Add 1 card with Greymon in its name and 1 card with Omnimon in its name from among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Tried and true. Gotta run it. It's still one of the best searchers we've got access to. Next up, we're playing 4 copies of Agumon X. Digivolves on anything with Agumon in its name for 0, allowing you to play this card for 3 and then Digivolve immediately on top of it, so you can get a double search. This one has an on-play and when Digivolving, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 card with Omnimon or Greymon in its name, and 1 X antibody option from among them to your hand, put the rest at the bottom of any order. So again, all 3 of these have the chance to double hit in this build, and each one searches for a different second piece, which is really nice if we're searching for other stuff. But it also 3 of them search for the core line of our deck. Next up, we're playing 2 copies of the Agumon promo. While this Digimon has Greymon in its name, it gets plus 2,000. It's still a really good level 3. Still does exactly what it needs. All but like 3 cards in the deck Digimon wise that this would be underneath have Greymon in its name, so it's pretty much always going to get the DP boost, allowing you to swing over stuff especially with the new Wargreymon, which has Raid. Next is our level 4 lineup. We are playing the 1 copy of Greymon X Antibody. It's still a good card. There's still no reason to not run it. So you just run this 1 copy because you can. If for those not familiar, it has the Your Turn effect. When this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Greymon in its name, you reduce the cost by 1 for each of that card's colors. So any of the new level 5 Metal Greymon or the older black and red ones, they Digivolve for a cost of 1 to 2 rather than 3 to 4. It also Digivolves for 0 on top of any Greymon, and then it also has the inheritable when this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, and it would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck by an effect by placing 1 X antibody option from this card's Digivolution cards at the bottom of the owner's deck. You can prevent that. Next up, we have 2 of the new Greymons. Digivolves for 2 on a black or 3 on a black source, but that doesn't matter because all of our level 3s are Agumons, which it Digivolves for a cost of 2 over top of. It has the Wind Digivolving. If you don't have a Tamer named Tai Kamiya in play, you may play one without paying its memory cost. And then has the same inheritable as the BT12 Agumon, where all turns, if it has Omnimon or Greymon in its name, it gets plus 1,000. So that's 2,000 if you have these guys in the stack. Next up is 3 copies of Greymon X Antibody. Digivolves for 0 from a Greymon. We're not playing 4 because we're splashing the 1 copy of this, but we definitely want to still have access to 4 X's that we can Digivolve on top of. It doesn't have any Wind Digivolving or Your Turn effects like the newer one does, but it does have the inheritable of when the Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name. If it would be deleted or returned to hand your deck by an effect, you may trash 2 cards from this card of the same level from this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent it from leaving play. So, again, you can trash your Agumon and your Agumon X, Greymon X, whatever, what have you, to protect yourself. Next up, because this is an OTK style deck, we are playing the King of Security Attack, and the OG Security Attack modifier. Greymon from the starter deck just has an inheritable of Security Attack -1. Can't really beat it. There's no restrictions. There's no caveats. You have to. It's just have this in there, extra security. Next up, we're on to level 5s. 3 copies of the new Metal Greymon. Digivolves for 3 from a level 4. This name contains Greymon. So if we have this guy and Greymon X antibodies on the field, we can Digivolve this for a cost of 1. If not, it's still only going to cost us 3, so it's not too bad. It has access to Raid, which can allow you to swing over smaller bodies, and with the inheritables, you can still get +2, +3k, +4k even. So this guy can swing over some much larger bodies as well. And then all turns once per turn, when the Digimon's attack target is switched, you may play 1 black or red Tamer card with a play cost of 4 or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. So we are playing both a black and a red Tamer, and we will be able to play them off of its effects. So that's good. Not always going to be what we want to do, but in the event that we're trying to make something happen or set up for a future play, it can be very useful. So it's overall a good card. And keep in mind, this does not specifically state when you use Raid. So if your opponent decides to block you or redirect an attack, that still will trigger this all turns effect. And it is also all turns. So if you block something or redirect something, you'll get that effect as well. And then it has the inheritable of your turns while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name. It gains piercing. So a more Greymon line specific version of the EX3 Metal Greymon's inheritable, which is phenomenal. Funnily enough, this does not play into the Machinimon archetype that EX3 or EX1 Metal Greymon tried to do both. Next up, we're playing 3 copies of Metal Greymon X Antibody. Digivolves from 0 from a Digimon named Metal Greymon. And then when Digivolving, this Digimon gains Security Attack +1 until the end of the turn. And then if this Digimon has Metal Greymon or X Antibody in its Digivolution cards, this Digimon gets +3000 DP till the end of the turn. To the opponent's next turn, sorry. So just Digivolving this guy raw, he is a Sac +1 11k. With any inheritables, he can gain piercing, he can gain additional DP, he can gain extra security attack. So just absolutely insane body. And it's one of the few that can let you take advantage of this. You can take advantage of this Metal Greymon, whereas the old one, you couldn't really. And the Metal Greymon that lets you swing over unsuspendeds, since this specifically states a Greymon, you can use X Antibody to Digivolve into this guy, activate Raid, play a Tamer, Digivolve into this guy, get your Piercing swing with Sec +1 and still check stuff. So it's a really good combo with these two guys. Next up is 2 copies of Metal Greymon Alteris mode. Digivolves from 0 from a Metal Greymon, aka this guy. This card's name is also treated as Metal Greymon. So when it's out, you can Digivolve Metal Greymon X on top of this guy for a cost of 0, since its name is Metal Greymon. Then it also has the when Digivolving effect. If you have a Tamer in play, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 5,000 DP or less. 5,000 DP is a pretty high number. It lets you clear some champions and all level 3s, which is really good if your opponent's trying to board rush you. Or just like establish some you just want to clear some searchers before they deal some chip damage. And then its inheritable is the exact same as Greymon X, where if it would be deleted or bounced, you can trash 2 cards of the same level to prevent that. So again, some redundancy built in, or if you don't have one, hopefully you have the other. So really good. It can Digivolve on top of itself because its name is named Metal Greymon, so you can build some pretty wonky stacks with that. Next up are our level 6s. We're playing 3 copies of the new Metal Greymon. Digivolves for 3, or not Metal Greymon, Wargreymon, I apologize. Digivolves from 3 from a level 5 whose name contains Metal Greymon, aka all of our level 5, so it will always Digivolve for 3. It has Raid, which lets you redirect to the highest DP, highest unsuspended Digimon, highest DP unsuspended Digimon your opponent controls. It also, when Digivolving, gains blocker and plus 3,000 DP, and then all turns once per turn, when an attack target is switched, you can unsuspend this Digimon. So you can do this defensively, where this thing can block twice due to the redirection all turns effect, and it will be Digivolving raw. It'll be a 15k on that turn. Or you can use this to facilitate your OTK, where if you Digivolve into this Metal Greymon and Raising, push out with 3 memory, Digivolve into this guy for a cost of 0, give yourself Security Attack +1 and plus 3,000 DP, then Digivolve into this guy for 3, giving you plus 6,000 DP and Security Attack +1 and Redirect and an additional swing and Piercing. So you can check 4 cards. Yeah, check 4 cards, clear 2 bodies, and have a 18k DP Digimon through your opponent's next turn without just with your level 5s into your level 6. So that's not counting anything else underneath of it. Next up is the Wargreymon X Antibody Digivolves for 1 from a Wargreymon, aka this guy. Otherwise, it's going to cost you 4, which is kind of rough. All turns when a card is removed from your opponent's security stat, gain 1 memory, and then end of attack once per turn if Wargreymon or X Antibodies in this card's evolution cards. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon with DP less than or equal to this Digimon. So, what you're going to want to do here how to facilitate to go through the full wombo combo is have any number of security attacks other than this one. So like if you have the Greybon inheritable, you go Digivolve into this guy in Raising, then on your following turn push out. Digivolve into this guy for free, get your DP boost. If you can add this guy in there at any point, go for it. But ideally you want to go from here to here, then from here to here for 3, swing, activate Raid, pierce through, check 2, unsuspend, swing, activate X antibody, go into this guy, check 2 more, gain 2 memory, so it's still your turn. You'll be sitting at 1 memory because you only passed over. You'll gain 2 off of the checks from this guy, and he will have all of this DP, and so you're deleting an 18k an 18k or less at the end of this attack. So you're clearing 3 bodies, checking 4 cards, and leaving an 18k Digimon that potentially has protection on the board. Finally, we're to level 7s, which again, if you've checked, you had an additional security check in there, you've checked 6 total security in that turn, so your opponent should be running pretty dry. So you can pretty much just Blitz Omni for game, which is why we're running 2 copies, and we only need 2 since they are so heavily searchable. We have 12 cards that can search out, one of these. Just 1 copy of this is all we need to be in our hand at any given time. Omnimon X Antibody is there to get rid of bodies, and also if our opponent somehow was able to recover, to a point where we needed it, you can use the X Antibody again with the Blitz Omni to trash that last security and just swing in for game. So this is kind of just a win more or a win ceiling card. It can also be really good if your opponent has something problematic that you're struggling to get rid of, which with this deck you really shouldn't. So you could ideally probably cut this for a 3rd copy of Blitz Omni if you wanted to, or increase a ratio somewhere. But I just like to have it in there because it can just be like it's still a 16k body and security. It's searchable off of off of all of your searchers. It bounces bodies by returning them to the bottom of the deck, so it gets around like can't be deleted effects. And then you can trash a security when digivolving and when attacking. Next up is the options. We're playing 2 copies of Hades Force. It's still a really good card. Most of our cards in our deck are, there's a good portion of our deck that's red-black, so we're probably always going to have, we should always have access to this card. And, since we're running 3 copies of, spoiler alert, X Antibody, we should be able to play this for 5. So you can choose any number of your opponent's Digimon and or Tamers whose combined play cost add up who are equal to the play cost of one of your Digimon with Greymon in its name, aka it's going to be our Wargreymons, and delete all the chosen cards. So you can delete up to 12 memory cost worth of stuff from your opponent's board. So if you go up against a All Force player or a Cross Art player, you can blow up all of their Tamers on the board and then still swing at a player with your, Wargreymon or your Wargreymon X. And then in security, it has the delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. So it can hit if your opponent swinging with All Force again. You can swing, delete it. You can force an evade, or if you're going against a Grandis or a Beelzebon X deck, that Digimon just dies and it ends their turn. Next up is the X Antibodies. While you have a Digimon in play, you can use this card without meeting its color requirements. You never want to play this. You can't play this on a card in Raising, so that goes without saying. Security, gain 1 memory and add this card to your hand, which is phenomenal. And then main, place this card under one of your Digimon without the X Antibody option in its Digivolution cards as its bottom Digivolution source, which is awesome. But this is the inheritable is the main reason you want it. Effects can't trash X Antibody in this card's Digivolution cards, your effects or your opponents, so they can. It basically prevents source stripping and always guarantees you'll at least have 1 source, which is phenomenal whenever you're playing against decks that like to run Sorai or things of the like. And it also has the when attacking inheritable, this Digimon can digivolve into a Digimon card with X antibody in its traits for its Digivolution cost. You can't ignore Digivolution requirements, so you can't go like Champion to a Mega. Uh, but you can slide, so Metal Greymon into Metal Greymon X, or you can go up one, go Metal Greymon X into Wargreymon X antibody, to it's basically a pseudo blitz option. And then finally we have our tamers. We're running one copy of Yuya. He's both of these guys are memory setters, so that's a little redundant, but they do two completely different things and facilitate two different pieces of our basically just solidifying our board presence. So Yu Yakuga has the ability on your turn when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon in its name, by suspending this tamer, that Digimon gains plus 2,000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn, which is phenomenal. Gives you additional DP your opponent has to try and swing over or reduce or do whatever. But then it also has, if it digivolves into the same level Digimon, it isn't affected by your opponent's option cards until the end of the turn. So you can swing if you go into Metal Greymon X and you have Yuya on board, you can digivolve into you can suspend it, give it an additional DP boost, go into this guy, so then he's a 20k that swings for sec +1 with piercing twice, and is completely unaffected by any options that might trigger insecurity, so you safe swing, which pretty much guarantees the OTK. We're also playing Tai. All of your red Digimon with 4 or more Digivolution cards gain security attack +1. The memory setting is good because if you have either one of these, it sets you to 3, which is pretty much where you need to be at. It's a sweet spot for this deck. But then also, it's another chance to get a security attack plus modifier to guarantee that OTK off of these guys. And if you get any chip damage off of your search rookies, the restand effect could just end your just downright just delete your opponent without the need for Blitz Omni. So again, like having the additional security check is awesome. Then we're running 2 copies of Cool Boy. I used to run 3, but you got to find room for something somewhere. So this Omnimon X antibody could potentially become a Cool Boy. Still probably the best tamer in the game if you're running X antibody cards. On play, it only costs 2. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 Digimon card with X antibody in its traits, and 1 option card with X antibody in its traits from among them to your hand. Place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this searches this option and half of the deck. Since one of our rookies has X antibody in its traits, you can, even if you don't see a rookie but you see this, you could play it and potentially still get a rookie off of it, which is phenomenal. And then it also has the your turn effect. When one of your Digimon digivolves into a same level Digimon with X antibody in its traits, you may suspend this tamer, gain 1 memory, and draw a card. So you can slide digivolve into this guy, suspend it, draw a card, gain a memory, then go into these guys. So even if you had to go from here to here, if you have a memory tamer, you can still keep turn because you'll gain 1 memory off of the Cool Boy. So these tamers just facilitate everything that you want to do with the deck. Your options. This one is integral. This one is kind of that's the reason we're only running it at 2 instead of 3, is because it's not 100% as necessary as it was in Black Wargreymon. We're playing these guys to facilitate our OTK strategies. These are this is exactly where you want to end your board, is on one of these 2, and everything else is just a supported cast to get to this. It's a very linear game plan, but it has a lot of ways to answer a lot of different boards. So that's kind of where this deck shines. Is it's like if your opponent playing against this deck, they know exactly what you're going for. You're going to go to try to end on one of these. The problem is you have so many searchers and so many enablers in the deck and so much protection that they can't really stop you. Like this is a very you're playing solitaire. And then you're facilitating, you have this guy which can delete stuff, you have this guy which can delete stuff, you have this guy which can delete stuff, so you can board control on your way there and on your way up the chain. You also have the way to play your Tai out for free. So if you have multiple level 4s in hand, like 2 even, and you have an Agumon out here and you have a Tai. Oh well, you don't want to pass 4 memory to play a Tai. Digivolve this guy onto one of your search Agumon from last turn. Now you pass your opponent 1, and you play out this Tai for free. It's insane. The Metal Greymon, if you're forced to swing early, you can swing, activate raid, which will redirect, which will activate this, letting you play these guys, either one of them, since they're both 4 cost. slide Digivolve affects anybody into this guy, and then if you have a Yuya, suspend it, give yourself immunity to options. So then you'll be, and since it has Greymon in the name, you'll have piercing. So then you're swinging 2 security minimum, assuming you don't have this guy in your sources. So you're drawing a card off your Koromon, uh, checking 2 cards, piercing over something, playing out this guy, and you're swinging for plus 3k, so 11k minimum. No, sorry, 13k minimum with the Yu Yakuga effect, checking 2 cards, and you're immune to options for on your opponent's turn. So they're going to have to spit out a 13k after you just cleared their board. Well, not cleared their board, but cleared the Digimon off their board. You've checked 2 cards, and you have a 13k that's immune to options, so they have to swing over at that turn, or you just go into one of these guys. So yeah, the deck is very linear, but it's very, very hard to basically just stop your opponent to stop it just from running all over it. So this has been the Wargreymon X BT12 deck profile. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was insightful and you guys learned something. I hope you guys will see me on the next one. Have a good day.